The journey to a debt-free life is not a sprint, but a marathon. It requires grit, resilience, and a solid plan of action. But as I ventured down the path of financial freedom, I stumbled, made mistakes, and learned valuable lessons the hard way. These errors slowed down my progress and made my journey feel longer than necessary. Looking back, I realized that each of these mistakes could have been avoided with a bit more knowledge, discipline, and planning. If you're on a similar journey, I want to share these 5 mistakes with you so that you can avoid them and reach your debt-free goals sooner rather than later. Let's dive into each of these missteps and how they impacted my journey. 1. Ignoring my budget. The silent killer of progress. At the beginning of my debt-free journey, I made one critical mistake. I ignored my budget. I thought that budgeting was too restrictive and would limit my freedom. Instead, I relied on vague estimates and kept track of my spending in my head, thinking it would be enough. After all, I had good intentions. Right, I was committed to paying down my debt, so why would I need to track it on paper? Well, this was a huge mistake. By not having a clear and written budget, I lost control of where my money was going. I didn't realize how much I was spending on unnecessary items, small indulgences, or impulse purchases. Every time I paid off a debt, I felt like I had made progress, but then I would suddenly face unexpected expenses, and I'd end up adding more to my credit card balance. This cycle was frustrating and demoralizing. The lesson: a budget isn't just a financial tool, it's your personal roadmap to success. Without one, you're essentially driving blind, hoping you'll somehow reach your financial destination, but with no clear direction or strategy in place. A budget provides the structure you need to ensure you're not just aimlessly spending. It acts as your guide, helping you prioritize your financial goals and make informed decisions every day. By creating and sticking to a detailed budget, you can track every single dollar you earn and spend, giving you a full picture of where your money is going. This level of awareness empowers you to control of your finances and ensures you're always directing your funds toward your most important goals, like paying off debt, building an emergency fund, or saving for the future. Instead of letting money slip through the cracks, a budget forces you to actively decide where your money should go, ensuring you're putting every dollar to work in a purposeful way. 2. Focusing on small wins, not the high-interest debts in the beginning. I chose to follow the debt snowball method, which is great for staying motivated. The snowball method is all about tackling your smallest debts first. While this felt satisfying and gave me early victories, I soon realized that I was making a financially unwise choice. By focusing on paying off the smallest debts, I was neglecting my high-interest debts. Interest rates on credit cards were eating away at my money, yet I kept chipping away at the small balances, which didn't have high interest rates. The result: I was losing more money to interest than I needed to, and it was costing me precious time. The lesson: it's important to balance motivation with strategy. While paying off small debts can give you emotional momentum, it's more cost-effective to focus on the debts with the highest interest rates. By doing so, you stop the interest from snowballing and save money in the long run. The debt avalanche method is a smarter choice for those who want to save the most on interest, even if it's not as emotionally satisfying as the snowball method. 3. Not building an emergency fund early enough. It's easy to think that when you're in debt, you should put every extra dollar toward paying it off. However, I learned the hard way that not having an emergency fund is a major mistake. Life has a funny way of throwing unexpected expenses at you when you least expect it. Car repairs, medical emergencies, home repairs, and more. In the early days of my debt-free journey, I didn't prioritize an emergency fund. When life happened, I didn't have the cash available to cover the unexpected costs, so I put it on my credit card. As a result, I ended up adding more debt to my already existing balances, further delaying my journey to becoming debt-free. The lesson: you need a small emergency fund as your safety net. This prevents you from falling back into debt when life throws you a curveball. Financial experts recommend having at least $500 to $1,000 saved up before aggressively tackling debt. Once that emergency fund is in place, you'll be able to handle unexpected situations without having to borrow money. Building an emergency fund is a key foundation that will help you stay on track with your debt-free journey. 4. Overlooking the power of extra income. I'll be honest, in the beginning, I was obsessed with cutting costs. I thought the only way to get out of debt was to shrink my spending as much as possible. I cancelled every subscription I could, stopped eating out completely, and avoided even small luxuries like coffee or occasional treats. My entire focus was on frugality. While reducing expenses is important, I didn't realize that I was missing out on an even more powerful tool: increasing my income. For a long time, I didn't consider finding ways to earn extra money. I believed that budgeting better and living on less would be enough to reach my financial goals. What I failed to understand was that there's a limit to how much you can cut, but your potential to earn more is often unlimited. If I had started a side hustle, worked a few extra shifts, or even sold some unused items around the house, I could have sped up my progress significantly. Once I finally did explore these options and brought in additional income, the difference was incredible. I was able to make larger payments, see faster progress, and stay more motivated. The lesson: while budgeting and saving are important, they're only one side of the coin. Finding ways to boost your income, whether through side jobs, freelancing, selling items, or using your skills in creative ways, can make a dramatic difference in your journey to becoming debt-free. Don't underestimate how powerful a few $100 extra a month can be when they're directed toward your financial goals. Embrace the hustle and look for opportunities to grow your income, even as you keep expenses in check. 5. Not tracking my progress regularly. One of my biggest regrets on my debt-free journey was not consistently tracking my progress. In the beginning, I would pay down debt whenever I could and occasionally check my balances, but I didn't have a regular system in place to monitor where I stood financially. Without a clear picture of my progress, it was difficult to stay motivated. I missed out on seeing the small victories, the debts that shrank over time, the milestones I passed, and that lack of visibility made the journey feel longer and more discouraging than it needed to be. When you're not tracking progress, it's easy to lose focus. I would get distracted or feel like I wasn't making any real headway, even when I was. Without consistent monitoring, I didn't hold myself accountable and wasn't able to adjust my strategy when things weren't working. It was only after I began regularly tracking my payments, balances, and milestones that I felt more in control. Seeing my progress written down helped me build momentum, stay focused, and push through the hard times. The lesson: tracking your progress is just as important as taking action. Use whatever method works best for you: an app, a spreadsheet, a journal, and make it a habit to review your finances often. Record every payment, every balance drop, and every win, no matter how small. This not only keeps you motivated, but also helps you identify patterns, refine your strategy, and stay committed to your goal. Remember, progress builds motivation, and motivation keeps you moving forward. Don't let these mistakes delay your success. The road to becoming debt-free isn't always easy, and mistakes are a natural part of the process. But what matters is learning from those mistakes and taking the right actions moving forward. If you've made any of the same mistakes I did, don't be discouraged. You still have the power to get back on track and work smarter. Every mistake is a learning opportunity, and each step you take brings you closer to your debt-free future. By budgeting properly, focusing on high-interest debts, building an emergency fund, increasing your income, and tracking your progress, you'll find that the journey gets smoother, faster, and more achievable. Stay committed, keep pushing forward, and most importantly, don't stop. Your debt-free life is closer than you think.